Hey everyone. I know that plane week is kind of over, and it wasn't really a full week, and now I'm into the next week, and this isn't even a travel channel, but I want to talk about planes some more, mostly because I'm still on the road, and I had a whole other video planned that kind of went out the window, and I still have my video that I want to release, my most recent lecture at B-Sides Raleigh. It's just going to take a lot of editing. I have to, put the slides in and splice in video clips and a lot of things like that. So you're getting, it's what Alec and some other people sometimes call a ripcord video. It's like, well, send it. I got something else. So inspired by my trip here today, because I'm not in the same place, I flew again today. I was down in Austin, as some of you know. I was filming with a very lovely crew. You'll see the results of all of that on a better channel than mine. Yeah, I flew here today, though. Now I'm in Florida. I am full of cheese because I'm in an airport. I'm also full of questions. 3 questions, principally. They're all basically, why? Why do you do this? And it's partially me ranting and partially me actually asking you if you know or if you work in these industries and can answer me this, maybe you tell me down below. Am I the only one who still uses paper boarding passes? I know, I have the mobile app for all the airlines, but I like the feeling of a paper boarding pass if my phone blows up or dies. I don't like handing my phone ever to anybody, especially unlocked. So yeah, I usually have a paper boarding pass, which means I get stuff scribbled all over my boarding passes, right? Do you notice this trend? Like people who write things or highlight things on a boarding pass. I kind of get it if you're a check-in agent, because not every air carrier's boarding passes are the same. Some of them make sense to me. Some of them, again, like Delta's always made sense. It has the information where you expect it. It's clearly labeled American, who I was flying American today. That's why I had no Wi-Fi. Their boarding pass looks like it's something out of the 1920s, and it's just a massive jumbled shit. So I get it if you're telling a patron, hey, this is your gate number, this is your boarding time, be sure to note that. I mean, shouldn't be necessary, but I kind of understand. What I don't understand is what my ex, Sherry, and I would always joke about, which we call the security scribble, right? You're going up to the TSA screening area, and either the TSA or a worker from the airport or Clear, they grab a pen or a highlighter and just kind of randomly mark up your boarding pass in a way that doesn't indicate that it has any value to you or to them. It's like, hey, do you know this is your own name? Do you know you're flying on an airplane today? Well, I literally, look at this photo, right? The employee from Clear was bam, 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 the highlighting like half the entire boarding pass to everyone who she was processing. And I don't know what this is for. The only thing I could guess, and maybe a lot of you will be like, yeah, that makes sense, Steve, is this to visually cue them to make sure they're supposed to be checking certain information? Like this person has pre-check. Okay, this person, their name matched the name on the screen, maybe. But it seems like half my boarding pass and everyone else's was getting swiped over in a way that no one was reading. And TSA, again, is that helping them to land their eyes on the ticket so that they can be like, oh yes, this is a name and this is a person? I don't know. I think it just kind of is a thing that people do because they were trained to do it, and then they just do it like rote. Do you think there's any value in the security scribble? Does it make you laugh? It just makes me scratch my head and ask why. Once you're on the plane, this is a bigger gripe from me, because the security scribble doesn't really take a lot of my time. If it's a thing you do to make your process easier, fine. I'm not going to yuck your yum. But this is something I observe on loads of aircraft, and it infuriates me because it slows everything down, in my opinion. Have you ever heard this announcement when everyone's boarding? Ladies and gentlemen, we are running out of overhead bin space. Remember, we have a very full flight. If a bin is closed, that means the bin is full. You can move on. Please don't reopen the bins. I hate this announcement, and I hate this practice, because how many of you have seen flight attendants getting a little too eager to jump the gun and close those bins when they're not actually full? If every single passenger had the exact same size carry-on, like a roll-aboard Travel Pro, and they put them up there and they just racked them up like a bookcase, yes, there wouldn't be an inch of breathing room. But not everyone does. I mean, you've seen my tan backpack. You've seen other people fold up a jacket. There's plenty of stuff in the overheads that's squishy and that can move around and jostle around. The best way that passengers can make use of all the space is if they can see the space, in my opinion. That's why people open up the bins, because they're like, I don't know, I got to put my bag somewhere. Maybe there's a little more room up here. Flight attendants, you're going to have to walk up and down the aisles anyway before you get in the air, right? You have to check that the bins are all latched. Does it really save you that much time to pre-close some bins and not others? And I think it wastes time because half the passengers wind up popping them open anyway. You know the best way that you can indicate to passengers that a bin is full? Let them see it with their own eyes. They will notice there's nowhere to cram my bag and keep moving. I have seen so many passengers reopening bins that have been closed, and then the flight attendant closes them and they reopen them again. Just leave all the bins open. Let people use every inch of available space. They will Tetris their way in. And then your last walk up and down the aisle, just bam, 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 bam. Again, if you're a flight attendant, maybe there's something I'm missing in this process. Maybe you can educate me as to why I'm a crazy moron because this isn't my job. If you can tell me this, please let me know down below. If you're a passenger who agrees with me, I mean, I'm not just trying to drive engagement in the comments, but I do like knowing that I'm not crazy. Am I the only one who thinks this? But now we get to the real meat of the video. My big final why do you do this is the question of why do people treat airports like they are private spaces where they can conduct sensitive business as if no one is watching and listening? You get people like loudly blathering into their phone. There was a clip, and again, I'm going to try to find it, of a guy who would sit down near other people who are yammering away, and he would pretend to be part of their conversation.
What do you want for dinner?
Oh man, I could go for anything. Maybe a burger tonight, or burger and fries, pizza, something.
Where are the kids at?
I don't have kids. Why do you ask?
About 6 o'clock at the house.
Okay, fine. 6 at the house is great. That'd be perfect. Got to take the flight first. Oh, huh?
Oh, are you talking to me?
No, I'm on the phone.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. No, it was just a girl next to me. She was just talking to me.
Okay, well, I'll talk to you later then.
Okay, perfect. Talk to you later.
My favorite story about this, actually, some of you may know this if you follow my wife online. People talked about this because it made some news, right, among the hacker world. There was a guy in a Delta Sky Club who worked for a church and had very bad behavior, very rude kind of guy. He was, again, just loudly yammering into his phone, but not about nonsense. He was, like a minister on their board of directors, and he was bad-mouthing someone else in the church, like another one of their leadership people. And he's like, oh, Carol's so ineffectual, and she's going to get fired one of these days. And Tara literally could, see the guy, hear the name of, she's like, okay, that's the name of the church. She looked it up. She could find their full director list and their staff. And she's like, oh, that's Carol. I don't know if she actually reached out to Carol on LinkedIn or social media and was like, hey, Carol, Marvin over here thinks you're kind of a jackass. But basically, after the guy finished his call, Tara sort of, not as loud as he was being, but he loudly enough, she kind of was like, Frank, do you really think that everyone in this Sky Club needs to hear your business and the problems you have at Cornerstone Church or whatever, is from? And he got very taken aback. He's like, what do you mean? Who are you? And she's like, well, you were talking about this. I looked you up. I looked up Carol. I looked up your quarterly earnings, the things you were like, is this really everyone's business or were you trying to make it everyone's business? And he got huffy and walked out. And other passengers, they came, thank you. That was amazing. This one woman was like, do I sign up to learn from you somewhere? So I don't have a story about someone that brazen, but I definitely notice people conducting very sensitive business on laptops in the plane cabin and in other places like the Sky Clubs. But today's story comes to you from the plane cabin. Literally, there was a guy next to me who was a lawyer who instantly should know better. Also a church story because he was a church lawyer. So I know I'm not going to say exactly the name of his law firm, but it was creepy actually. The what he was working on was like a questionnaire for how to interview people for jobs, presumably jobs in a church. And the questions were like, have you ever had gay thoughts? Do you ever experience same-sex attraction? Do you ever succumb to the temptations of pornography? Have you and your wife talked about stumbling blocks that pornography could introduce? I'll throw some stuff on the screen here because, again, dude had no privacy shield. You might think I'm being rude. I'm not showing you sensitive information here, but the real creepy thing, you could see his email to one of his clients who was, again, some mega church thing or whatever. I looked them up online. And he was like, well, look, you're not a private company. You're a church. You can basically do whatever you want. So I know these questions might be uncomfortable, but you have the legal right to ask people anything you want. I didn't like that at all. But the other thing, he was traveling with a companion. So I was in the middle seat and that, was trying to fight for my 2 armrests. And he's in the aisle. His companion, I don't know, wife, girlfriend, or whomever she was also in the aisle. So he booked in a way that they booked together. Like they booked early enough to choose seats, obviously near each other, but they didn't opt to do it in a way that would give him any privacy. Like Tara works on planes a lot. I work on planes when I have to. I don't like to. Other colleagues of mine work on planes. And those of you out there, like in the hacker world especially, you know, if you have to use a laptop on a plane, like you choose a window seat and you put a privacy screen, a polarized screen on your laptop, it's actually pretty hard for someone to see what's going on if you give yourself even a modicum of privacy. He could have sat in the window, put her as a buffer, and then told people to be discriminatory all they want when they're hiring practices, and no one would be the wiser. But do you notice that when you are on planes? Do you see people kind of doing sensitive things? I mean, I've seen nuclear regulatory stuff, and I've seen, the number of, like, my eyes as a hacker just kind of land on things that look interesting, and then I can't look away. I'm a moth to a flame. Johnny Long talked about this in his No Tech Hacking lecture, right? So what are your thoughts about these kind of behaviors, or maybe other behaviors in airports and on planes that make you ask, like, why? Why do you do that? Sorry, again, this was kind of a nothing video. I don't like doing that on a Monday release for all you people, but you never know what's going to happen with your daily schedule. I am still obviously not home. I go from here to Moonshine Brutality. I'm at Moonshine. I am competing in the Cyberpunk division. I think Gun Bunny is also running Cyberpunk. A number of you will be out there. But my friend Yeezy's going to be out there running Cyberpunk. So maybe I'll capture some video of that. But don't expect it to be edited and up anytime soon because I'm going to come home exhausted. I actually get a week at home. I get a week at home before I go back east to do more Red Team Alliance classes out of our Virginia office. I'll have more stories for you. I'll have more things to tell you. Tell you what, if I have to ripcord one more video next week, it'll probably be a funny video we shot in a hotel talking about room numbers. Or I'll maybe give you something about elevators. Or I'll maybe give you something about fire regulation. I've got a few ideas. There's my video notes and my queue of content that I've captured is long. I need to sit down and actually crack through editing it. And, I'm not a professional film editor. If you want to see what that kind of thing looks like, well, the studio I was sitting in, the people I was working with, catch Modern Rogue when they release some stuff that I'll be in soon. But in the meantime, enjoy my silly thoughts about planes and travel. Say hi to me in the sky. Say hi to me on the ground. Say hi to me at GSX. That's where I'll be this week. Or say hi to me at a theme park, where hopefully I'll get a day with my friend Ginger and some other people. All right, I've rambled enough about all this. I want to get to bed. But wherever you are, whatever you do, wherever you go, keep your private information private and stay safe out there.